one of the things I noticed, like I used to put on plays in the prison, and we would be able to use for costumes some of the stuff that the other women used to wear, and a lot of the women back then it was like, mob wives. They were, women who were really getting money, really getting to it. Um, where when I went in, it was a lot of petty theft. It was a lot of people who weren't like, you know, solid. And, being in prison with women who aren't solid is very different from being in prison with women who are built like that. And a lot of the chicks that I was with were not built like that. There were a few, but not a lot. Most of them were just in because of a dude. They was the girlfriend of somebody who was getting money. They wasn't really the one getting the money. So, the era that she was in, it was definitely a different caliber of women. So I bet that it was a different experience for her than it was for me. So I guess I'm gonna keep going. I guess they're figuring this out.
No, no,
But
right here.
Youngstown,
You're doing
Ohio.
great. You're doing great. You know what I mean? You took me there. You know? Yeah, you took me there. But that's what's up. You know what I mean? But like I said, man, we were talking earlier because we wasn't on the YouTube, but now we're on the YouTube. So we're just gonna recap what we did in the first half. In the first half, we were talking about keeping your circle tight, keeping your circle, secure, and not letting anyone in that's not worthy of coming in. Now we also had another guest, which is Tracy. You know what I mean? Tracy, how you doing? You know,
Good.
we wasn't on the YouTube, but we up on the YouTube now, so we back rolling. So we're gonna recap what we spoke on in the beginning. You know what I mean? We were talking about keeping your circle tight, not letting weak things in to cause issues. You know what I mean? That would be bigger than what they are. Same thing like on the street. You don't want to let anyone in that's not of your caliber, that's not cut from your cloth, that's not going to respect your rules, your honor, and your movement. You know what I mean? If they're not riding with you, push from them. You don't need them in your life. That's like pushing back from the table. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean. So that's where we was at. Now, what did you have to say about that, lady?
I can relate to that because see, my era when we was in there, we had, like I said, my bit started in DC, so you had the DC heads, and
Mm,
they was like the old heads, and they
cool.
wasn't they
Habit.
wasn't going for all of
All
that.
right.
And
Yeah.
then
Little
you
Nino.
had the Baltimore chicks, you know what I
Mm,
mean? You had that clique, and it was basically cliques.
mm,
So
exactly.
we gonna keep it and line it up the way they was, because you had
Mm,
the DC women, you
mm,
had the Baltimore women, you had the New York, and it was like each had a clique, but you always had somebody that slid in each clique. You know what I mean?
mm,
Even though you wasn't from that era or them
mm,
peoples, but you had your cliques, and it's all about a clique. We
mm,
gonna keep that real. You
mm,
gonna take to your fam that come in, and once you find out they from your area, you
mm,
might not know them on the street, but they
mm,
might have knew somebody you know. So that's your
Mhm.
peoples now. You know
mm,
what I mean? So
mm,
yeah, you had the clique situation. It was basically what it was. You know what I mean? You mess with this, and you ain't let too many people win. You really don't. You don't let too many people win because it's just like she said.
mm,
Everybody not built the same way,
mm.
so you can't just
Okay,
let anybody ride.
I got a good question for y'all. Yeah, yeah, good, good, good.
No, I was gonna say, there's a difference in the people that say, all right, I did this wrong, and this is what I gotta deal with, and ate it,
Mm,
opposed to the people that was, not really accepting their time. And they made everybody's time hard. I don't know if it was like that. Those are the ones that was always complaining, always causing drama, and they usually had a year and a day, or they had 3 years. But the people who was doing the 10-year biz, the 15-year biz, usually were the most relaxed, because it's like you gotta soak in the fact that you're about to do this time, and you come in with this mentality like, all right, I can't change the outcome. It's what it is. Let me get as comfortable as I can get and do
mm,
my time, as peaceful as possible. But then you got these knucklehead chicks that was coming in for a year, 2 years, and they the ones that caused the most drama, always getting us locked down, always having petty fights,
mm,
always loud. Like, you doing all of this because your outdate is next year. But this chick's outdates in 10, 15 years. they don't want to get into no bullshit with you. And those was the ones, I don't know if it was the same for you, that was always causing the problems.
Oh yeah, we call them crash dummies. Those are crash
Yes.
dummies. You know what I mean? Those are crash
That's
dummies.
just like I said when I first got in there. You know what I mean? I wasn't accepting my time. My time started doing me until I actually sat down for them 2 years and realized, yo, I gotta do this. This can't do me. You know what I mean? And that's where the mentality changed in me. Cause I was that one that you talking about. I was that crash dummy. You know what I mean? Cause they.
But in that defense, you know, it's a hard thing to accept. You know, like
Yeah.
I always said that one of the things that I wanted to fight for was women. If I get 20 years and a guy gets 20 years, we both rob the bank, let's say. You know, I'm 30, he's 30. I'm gonna come home at 50 and say I don't have any kids, I can't start a family. But a guy, he can start his life over. So the punishment to me for women is a little bit more harsh because of our anatomy. You know, the first thing I thought about when I was getting sentenced was, damn, I don't have any kids. You know, will I be able to have kids? And because you know, my age, you know, single, whatever, like, am I going to be able to start a family? I didn't do that before I went in. And while I was in prison, I developed very bad fibroids that were directly connected to being on the concrete and metal all the time. So, you know, now I got to the age where, you know, I met somebody, I said I want to have a baby, and it was very difficult because of my circumstances in prison. And there's a lot of women I found out that go through that. The medical, you know, stuff is not good, and it makes it much harder. All the food is full of all these hormones, you know, and it affects women a lot more harshly in most cases than it does men. And I just feel like, yo, we getting a little bit of an extra punishment. You know, here I am wanting to start my life, and it's very difficult. So it's like, I feel like, you know, women are filling up the prisons faster than men right now. Like it's increased by 400%. And the punishment to me is a little bit more severe when it comes to families. Like, you know, the women are the mothers. So it's a different type of pain when a woman is away from her child and you can't, your baby father can't bring the kid because they got a felony. It's just all these little things, you know, built up against us that just makes it, I think, like, it's a conversation that's not really had about what happens with women versus what happens with men. It's all bad, but there are different situations that need to be dealt with differently, you know?
No, you're right. I mean, because that's why me myself, I respect that cat from Papoose. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, I respect Pap. You know what I
I
mean?
would
Pap
love for you to
stepped up
get him
program.
on the
I
show.
mean, you know, you have to love Papoose, man. You know what I mean?
Definitely, he was a good dude.
I respect the young man 100. You know what I mean? I sat back and I watched the way he moved and he held it down. I mean, it's like, don't think that it's the men that's not there to hold the women down, or the, you know, it's more women and more of that. It's just that it's less real men. You understand what I'm saying? It's less real men. So with less men, that means that, you know, the numbers dwindle now. You got selfish men, you know what I mean, that try and leech off of females. I mean, I come out here after 26 years and I see females is blossoming like we was. Y'all traveling, taking planes like taxis, the same as we did, you know, as ballers. But y'all doing this legally and legitimately while the dudes are sitting back biting their thumbs, wondering like, damn, I need to bag that chick. You know what I mean? She got a Range Rover. You know what I mean? This is what they doing when the girls used to do that. You know what I mean? The girls sit there and say, man, he gonna change up 4 cars in 3 hours. I got to get that. You know what I mean? This is what the girls did. But
wait, I want to comment on the Facebook comment. Somebody said men need to protect our women from incarceration. I protected mine. That's why she stayed free. I'll take the weight all day. And you know, that's a great mentality to have when it ain't the feds. But when it's the feds, they don't care shit about what you're talking about. You know, all that protecting doesn't exist. Once there's that conspiracy and they want you, they coming for you. There's no, I did it, it wasn't her. They do not care. You know,
no, they didn't, and that was that law that nobody really realized, that Rockefeller law.
Oh yeah, that's the first one.
That was like, really, that's the one that really put a lot of
Don't
women
y'all
in
don't know,
prison.
the Rockefeller law was the first one in the United States, started in New York by Rockefeller, and then the feds adopted it with Reagan and Bush, with the mandatory minimum. You know what I mean? And the 100 to 1 ratio. You know what I mean? With the crack and powder cocaine. Meaning we as black, okay, they gave us the crack in our neighborhood and showed us how to cook it up and make it small enough where even the brokest neighbor could get a hit. You
That's
know what I
it.
mean?
You know what I mean? It ain't take much to make it.
You understand what I'm saying? But in the suburbs now, they got the powder where they buy it, they cook it up themselves, and they come and they buy the crack and they go back and do their thing. But when they got caught, they didn't give if it was crack, they threw it away and let them go and kept it in state court. But if it's a black person, it automatically went in federal court. I know brothers that was my age and younger than me that got life sentences for a 50 rock of crack, a 50 rock of crack. You know what I mean? Got a life sentence because they tagged that with conspiracy. You know what I mean? And then give you a couple of co-defendants. They give you relevant conduct, meaning you're relevant. You know what I mean? And responsible for the conduct of your co-conspirator that's way in Georgia, robbing banks while you up here in New York selling coke, minding your business. You know what I mean? But now when it's time when they drag you into court, you get time for what he did down there. And in my case, keep it 100. I didn't even know my co-defendants down in Virginia. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm selling plenty of keys up here in New York. So I ain't had time to go down there and run around on the street. My brother was down there. You already know the deal. I sent him the drugs and he did what he did. You understand what I'm saying? And, that's how we blew. But I stayed up here and mind my business. They came and got me from New York, brought me all the way down to Virginia and said, now you're responsible for these 12 men. And we got in a fight in the courtroom and at our arraignment because they was calling me hot. They were saying, who's this nigga you put in here? I don't even know this nigga. What, this nigga police? And I'm the boss. But I'm in the room and I'm listening to them all saying, man, they brought me back from this state case. Man, I'm telling you, you the one that shot that little girl. Man, I'm telling you, you the one that robbed the thing over there when you shot Johnny in the leg over on 34th Street. And this is how and I'm sitting there listening to this. So for them to even come out and talk some trash about questioning me, you understand? Even though they didn't know me, to me, it was still a disrespect. You know what I mean? But they got me, you know what I mean? They got me handcuffed to my waist on the right. You know what I mean? Then this other hand here is handcuffed to my waist and to my next co-defendant, but I'm trying to throw the joint up so I can slug them. We all on the floor fighting, and the judge asking them why we fighting. You know what I mean? Because he thinking we all co-defendant, and they jump up yelling that I was hot. You know what I mean? And then turned out all of them pled guilty, and I'm the one that went to trial. Only good thing is I give them credit that when they went to trial, they kept it 100 and they got on the stand. They said, man, I don't know you, Nick. I know he the man from New York, got money in New York, but I never did business with him. So that's how I beat my drug charges. You know what I mean? And being that I had the clubs in New York, Miami, cars, houses everywhere, they threw me in the system. You know what I mean? And said, well, fight your way out, nigga. You know what I mean?
So what did they charge you? What was your charges?
They charged me being a kingpin, 848, because of these 12 men, you know what I mean, that I didn't even know down there. You understand? Now, the few people that I deal with in New York, they didn't even get caught up because I'm the only one that knew them because I was selling weight. You know what I mean? Other than that, I ran around New York and partied like a rock star. You know what I mean? And, nobody had to get involved in my business. I didn't need nobody to carry no pistol, carry no drugs, do nothing. I'm selling my 25 joints in the bag, pick the car up, give me my money, go about your business. You know what I mean? If I slip, kill me. You know what I mean? If not, pay me and we keep it moving. You know what I mean? That's the type of, that's the era I came from. You know what I mean? That's why I respect my comrades. You know what I mean? As far as Kevin Childs, Peter Shue, you know what I mean? AZ, the whole crew, you know what I mean? Pretty Tone Gangster, the ones I always call out, family. Because that's when New York had no law. It was lawless. You understand what I'm saying? Your pistol rule and your heart rule. Because many people had pistols and many people died with their pistol in their hand and in their waistline and in their pocket. You know what I mean? So, I mean, the pistol don't make the man. You know what I mean? And I'm not up here talking no gangster shit. I'm not on none of that.
No, you're making a lot of sense.
I'm just keeping it 100 so that the youth listening know that this joint is real. You slip. You know what I mean? I lost my brother during the struggle. You understand what I'm saying? And I lost my brother's child's mother. You know what I mean? Because somebody made a statement before about Kemba.
Kemba Smith.
You know what I mean? Kemba Smith, that's my co-defendant. I love her with all my heart. Never had an issue with her. You know what I mean?
Boxed up with her.
Did it death. You understand what I'm saying? And if my brother wouldn't have died, he would have did the same thing to get her out of prison. You understand what I'm saying? And I wrote her myself in 1996 from ADX Supermax when I was one of the first 200-300 they brought down there. I wrote her to tell her that if she needed me to let me know so I could come back and do what I need to do to testify for, like I did it for one of my other co-defendants. You understand what I'm saying? Because bottom line is, this is my fight. You know what I mean? They brought them in because of me. You understand what I'm saying? So if I had to die in prison, so be it. You understand what I'm saying? That's, that's just the way I was raised. You understand what I'm saying? So, when people talk about, who told this, who told that, man, I don't care nothing about them. I was raised a man. I'm a die a man. It's going to go on my tombstone. I lived as a man. You know what I mean? And that's all I care about. You know what I mean? That's why I love my brother Dollar Bill. You know what I mean? He did what he had to do. He did his 30 years, 30 plus years. Show him big, huh? Let him know that he beat the gangsters, man. You know what I mean?
He's sitting over here talking about that's me. That's
You
me.
know? Nah, I know that's him because
That's my
we raised on the
man.
same floor. You know what I mean?
I feel you, boo. I feel
Nah,
you.
I'm just letting it be known what it is. If I die today, I'm dying an honorable man. I'm ecstatic if I die right now. I don't live long enough anyway. I
That's
never
deep.
expected to
That's
make this
deep.
damn far.
It is, because
That's
that's
deep.
all he talk about,
No,
too.
I'm
That's
just
what he
keeping it
talk
100.
about.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, someone have to sacrifice, for the masses. You understand what I'm saying? And when you're chosen, you're chosen. You understand? So I was put in a situation to stand on the morals and principles that was etched in me. You know what I mean? From I set foot on the streets, off the porch, coming out of New Jersey, going up into Brooklyn, running around the Bronx, running around Harlem. You know what I mean? These are the rules that was etched in me. So when them people grab me, to this day, I could go to my grave and my grandkids could say, my grandfather has never talked to a federal agent a day in his life and did 26 years in prison. Like I said, I fired 3 lawyers for coming to me telling me they wanted to make a deal. It is no deal to make. You know what I mean? I knew what I did when I picked those keys up on the street, and I knew what I did when I picked the pistol up on the street. You know what I mean? So I can't sit here. There's nothing to talk about. Strap them up. Let's go to trial. Whatever happened, we played a little fake game that you played. We know you're gonna railroad me, but I gotta do what I gotta do.
I
You
feel
know,
you. I did the same. I had to
Well
take it to
said.
trial,
Well
too.
said.
I mean,
Definitely.
and that's it. And
I
like I
was
said,
guilty to the max. It was taped to the body. I knew it was there, but at the
you
end
know
of
what
the
I
day, I still wanted to go to trial.
mean?
Even though halfway through my trial, I decided I didn't want a jury, but I still went to trial. So
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I feel you.
yeah.
Got to.
But
If
that's
more
what
of
I'm
us
saying.
went to trial,
Mm,
the outcome would be different. We so scared, and I'm guilty of that too.
mm,
Even though I've done this, but I'm accused of this,
mm,
and then I cop out to this instead of fighting to be charged with this. And that's where they get us because everybody's sitting in pretrial, especially if you don't got no bond or no bail. You want to get the shit over with. You want to get it done. So you just be like, man, just let me cop out to whatever.
Nah,
Because
I couldn't cop out.
you
My
get
cop
so
out was the
scared.
same. My cop out was the same to me right now. They told me 0 to 30 going to trial.
Listen,
But
I'm
they want me to plead to
But you're right.
10.
And a lot of people,
I
like
wasn't
I said, I'm
pleading.
guilty of it.
I
I've
couldn't
seen
plead to
everybody
10.
go to
I'd
trial
rather
and
take it to
lose.
trial because you said 0 to 30. I can come up with 0. So I'm going to take that chance on a lesser number. So I couldn't cop out for it. I refused, and I was guilty. I ain't going to make it seem like I wasn't guilty. I was guilty, but I wasn't going to plead to it. At the
But see,
end, it was the same. I came out with the same number. So it was straight up in the middle. I got 10, but I was told I'm facing 0 to 30. Okay, then let's see what they give me. And I still walked away with 10, but I walked away with that. No co-defendants, no nothing. I should have had some co-defendants, but I'm not built like that. I wasn't. I knew what I was getting into.
look. So y'all understand how deep this drug game is. When we
Yes,
all on the block, we hustling together. You know
that's
what I mean?
right.
We got mules, we got lookouts, we got dudes that just stand on the corners, we got dudes that just run the store and buy the Dutch Masters. You know what I mean? But when the feds come,
One
they
of those
on
two.
your high-powered road and give you a case. Now, when they do that, you know what I mean, and they bring you in and they got you and they say that you're a part of the conspiracy or you're the head of the conspiracy. Each person that pleads guilty is admitting that the conspiracy existed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You understand? Let's get that right. They admitting the conspiracy existed. So now they pick me up, they picked me up with 12 other men. You understand? And a couple of women, and they brought me down to Virginia to stand trial. Like I said, I don't know none of them. You understand? But when I go in there, I know if I go in there to plead guilty, I'm saying this conspiracy existed and these people did everything that you accusing me of and them of in this indictment because I'm saying that I'm guilty of this indictment. So I had to fight it and say this indictment do not exist. It don't stand for me. You know what I mean?
It
And
wasn't me.
A lot of people need to learn that. You know what I mean? And I wish I knew that because I I I pled guilty because while I was sitting in pretrial confinement for 2 years, I watched everybody who went to trial lose.
told me how he was acting.
It didn't matter what the story
You was in
was.
Virginia
It didn't matter.
Beach Federal Jail.
It didn't matter what the story was. It didn't matter how innocent they were. Some of these stories were crazy, and I watched over and over these sisters go to trial, come back guilty, 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 guilty. So then, I'm young. They like, yo, you better cop out because I saw everybody that plea that was offered when they lost in trial, their sentence was double that.
No, but that's what they do. They force you to go to trial. They try and force you to be a rat. They try and force you to cooperate with them. You know what I mean? Because you go to trial, they want to give you life, but you plead guilty, they want to give you 20 years, 10 years, or whatever. You know what I mean? The time at the time, whether if I decide to exercise my rights and go to trial, I'm entitled to do that.
Right, and it's crazy because you exercise your right, you're punished for it. And that's the part that I don't respect. And I don't respect the whole system, but that's just so blatant. But I always tell people like, you a bee trying to fly around an anthill. This ain't your nation, this ain't your people, this ain't your laws. You know what I mean? They're not here to help you, they're not gonna give you a fair run. Once you enter their system, you're gonna get dragged.
That's it. You know
That's it. There's no fairness in this system. Like the whole shit started from slavery. With the first police was slave catchers. They were state-funded slave catchers.
Exactly.
They evolved into the police force. Like it was never built on justice, fairness, blind justice. They don't even count what's it called, mens rea. What is your intent?
Yeah.
They don't even look at that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversation about changing the system and all of that, but the system is foul. There is no fairness in the system. The only way to have fairness in the system is to not participate in it. That's the only way. Once you get in it, you a pawn in their game, and they're gonna railroad us and continue to railroad us the way they've been doing it since we came to this country. It's never been different. It's just different forms of different things. They literally, when I was doing all my legal work, because I was like the jailhouse lawyer, I was always doing people, appeals and whatever. And when I started looking at these cases and I saw how many people was getting life for non-violent offenses, it used to make me so sick. I couldn't even read it. I'm like, they're burying us alive. Like they're taking people out of their household, out of the street, and locking them up forever. Do people know what forever means?
Yeah.
Like that's why
she lost her sound. She lost her sound because of
about doing, all these different speeches and different things about mass incarceration. Because I'm like, the world don't really even know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like people are getting locked up for the rest of their lives for selling some damn drugs. It's not that serious. Right. It's not that serious. Like people take drugs every day. People go and get prescriptions every day. And they locking this up forever for something that's a choice. Now, if I grab somebody's arm and I stab them with some heroin and I'm like, you're going to get high and I'm forcing it, that's different. But these are people's choices that they make about their lives and it's business. They have no business giving people life for selling some damn drugs. I'm sorry. It's just a catch-hold to just get rid of us.
I remember it was one of the movie star sons. Oh, Carol O'Connor, the dude that played Archie Bunker. I think it was. His son died from shooting heroin, or his daughter, one of his family members died from shooting heroin. And then he took the dope man who sold the heroin to court for the murder. When she paid the price, she did her thing. You know what I mean? But he took her to court. You follow me? For her choice to get high. For her choice to put too much in the cooker. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I was locked up with a girl, and her friend used to both get high. They used to both get high. They would take all these pills. They would shoot up. They would do it together. Both overdosed. She was my bunkie. They both overdosed. Her and her best friend. The best friend died. She survived. But they both was in the hospital. Same thing. They charged her with the best friend's death. To me, it's just like these women were making their own choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna charge her for her death? She was getting high and
Yeah,
she was getting high. She didn't stick no needle in her arm. She did it to herself.
yeah.
So it's like they taking their power shit like too far,
Mhm.
too far. They're not including decision making in the sentencing.
Mm. Exactly. But that's why that Trump law that I got released on, the one that he signed, the 404, me and Brittany Barnett gonna be on Wednesday night and speak about it. If you want, you can pop in the meeting. You definitely, a regular more than welcome. Aisha. But Wednesday we got Brittany Barnett coming up here, and that's what we're dealing with. That how they're giving out the time crazy like that, and with beautiful people like her to come in to help, is amazing. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, nobody deserves. It didn't take me 25 years to become the fly man I'm sitting in front of you today as. You know, yeah, that's that shit. But anyway, no, but you know what I'm saying though? I mean, but it didn't take you 10 years to learn your lesson. You understand? Look how you came, you got right into your hustle, you got a new hustle. You know what I mean? We did what we knew how. We did what, we did best with what we had to work with. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, not mollifying, but the drugs is out there. You know what I mean? You're making X amount for the drugs. You can't even get a job back in my time. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, literally can't get a job. So now here goes some drugs. You don't even need a lot. You just need this much. You know what I mean? To make a couple of $100 when you just didn't even have enough for soda or quarter water. You know what I mean? The quarter water, little 25
What
cents.
it was?
I
Look,
don't remember.
they call them Hughes now. They call them Hughes.
You already know. You know what I mean? With the great cookies, those great oatmeal cookies. Come on, son. But anyway, that's where we at, man. But with
Well,
that,
I mean, it's us chasing the American dream. You know what I mean by with the means that we've had accessible to us. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to live a certain life. I don't care who you are. Nobody should be able to judge anybody for trying to live a comfortable life and take care of their family or whatever it is that they're doing.
exactly.
But you limit us, from certain things, and then when we get creative and figure out a way to still live at the same level that everybody else is living, we the worst people in the world. You know what I mean? But I always tell people, whites and blacks commit the same amount of crimes, sell the same amount of drugs, but in the white communities, you don't got police driving up and down all day. Of course, if you got more police in our communities, you're gonna see more. So you're gonna
Exactly.
catch more. But they don't have that. In them suburbs, them kids be doing all kind of craziness. But they're not being policed the way we are. So they don't see as much. So they don't lock them up as much. But we're not any different than anybody else. And that's why I hate the term like black on black crime and all of that. I'm like, do y'all not see Nietas? Do y'all not see MS-13? I don't hear Hispanic on Hispanic crime. I don't hear Asian on Asian crime. Everybody kills people within their same community. You don't hear white on white crime. We don't go shoot up people at big events and kill 50 kids and all. We don't do that, but you don't hear white on white crime. You only hear black on black. Everything we do, they put this microscope on us like we're aliens and we're so different. We learn from y'all. If you really want to keep it a buck, you know what I'm saying? Y'all was the original deadbeat dads when y'all was having all of these children in the South with these black women that y'all left them fatherless. Y'all was the original deadbeats, having all these mixed children that wasn't taking care of them. But they got so much to say about black men. They were the original, we party hardy. They were the original selling drugs, using all of this stuff. But it's all about us. It's just, it makes me really sick, and I think that we have to really just remove ourselves from the system as a whole. Like, we cannot participate in anything that they got going on. We have to separate ourselves. That's the only way. No nation, no people, get advanced by playing in somebody else's lane. You know what I mean? We speak their language. We follow their beliefs. We work their jobs. We do everything they do, and then we think that because we do those things, they're gonna treat us like them. But they don't. All they want to do is lock us up, kill us off. It's terrible. And I'm so passionate about it because I have friends come home and kill themselves. People that just, women are so soft, and
emotional.
not saying that men should be doing time. Nobody should. But it's different for the women. We are different. We're soft. We're meant to be protected, be mothers.
Yeah.
And we doing time like men, getting treated by the COs like men,
Like
getting
men.
disrespected. You know what I mean? And it's like, nobody's really talking about that. So I be going off everywhere I go. I let it be known, like, listen, we go through it too, and
Yes, we
y'all need to
do.
start paying us some attention because it's killing the
Drag us just
household.
like they drag a man, they will drag a woman, and
Yes,
it's
they
just
will.
hard. It's just, I mean, I have dealt with that part of my bed. I have. I used to always tell them when they came to lock me up, you gonna let me wash my ass because it's on a Tuesday. I ain't gonna get a shower until Thursday, so I gotta bathe before you put me in there. I, I physically. My roommates used to be like, Tracy, they coming. I'll be like, they gonna come. I know they gonna come.
But
But
I'm
I'm
gonna get
gonna
this out.
bathe before they
Hey.
put me in that box. I'm not going in there without bathing. And they know. I tell them a minute, you won't get me out in time to bathe. I'm gonna have a shower going on in this room. They know I will flood the room. I'll stick blankets, everything down they toilet, because you know them toilets, they suck down some things. You know that, right? So I'll be that one. I have it all out. That's what I said. When I started that bid, I was just hard. Just, but I was young. I'm not gonna take that away from anything. I was young. I was 18 years old when I got that big. So it was hard for me. And then I left a 6 month out there. And as you say, I was a single mother. I had a deadbeat daddy. And at the end of the day, you knew I was locked up and you didn't step up for my boy and yours. You know what I mean? He was raised by a bunch of women, my mother, my sister, you know, that's who raised my son. And then when I came home, I had to fight for that, to do that. And I had to fight him more than I had to fight anybody else for him. You know what I mean? Because he was just under that impression that I didn't want him because I wasn't there. But he was told a story that I felt the truth would have made our relationship a little better. So it's like that's a big thing that us women have to deal with when we come home. Like you say, you didn't leave none out there. But to tell you the truth, when you come home after leaving one out there, you coming home to another battle. And that's a hard battle. Cause it's like, boy, don't you know the things that I had to go through for you? The things that I did for you. But he always make me feel bad because of my choices. But like I said, it was to give you a better life. It might have not have been the best life, but it was a good life. We didn't want for nothing when I was doing it. I was taking care of you. And when I came home, I stepped right back in them shoes. I was like, nah, this is my child. I never gave up my rights to my child. Nobody got papers that stated that I gave you custody. This is my kid. And I stepped back in that role and I still fight with him to this day. We still fight. And much as I believe, tell you the truth, you're 30 years old and still on my couch. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, ain't no love like your mother's love.
But
You know?
see, I agree with that wholeheartedly because that's what the whole thing is about to me. It's all about a mother's love, man. That's where it all came from. I know some kids that's so bad and so evil. I'm talking about evil kids. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You know that their mama had to love them because of
Gotta love them. You
whole
gotta
thing.
love them.
But you know what I
I try
mean?
to tell them
You
all the
can't.
time.
You know what I'm talking about? Like those kids that say got ADDHD. If
They
you
ain't
don't
got no
know,
ADHD. That's an excuse for a mother not being there for their
yeah,
child.
but
I'm
you know,
so
but
sorry.
no, but
I
you
think
know,
that's what that is.
I took a lot of different psychological classes to get my mind right, right? And there is a lot of different diagnosis that they have for our everyday urban community,
Huh.
you
Talk
know,
about
that
that.
we take for granted. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, when a dude sit there and he like to fight, you understand what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? And just don't want to listen, and he's always hyper and he's always aggressive. What's the first thing you say? Man, that nigga lunch. You know what I mean? All right, he bugging. You know what I mean? When you take it as nothing and brush it under the wood, but that's a sign crying out for help from a young age. But nobody paid no mind. And then before you know it, he start, killing cats in the back alley. You know what I mean? And killing dogs and cutting off dog heads. And no one's even paying no mind. He's, oh man, he just bugged out. That's so nasty. And nobody still ain't paying it no mind. You know what I mean? But
But
then
that's
before
all
you
it
know it,
is.
they start
That's what I
raping
think
women
that
and
is.
cutting
I
off
agree
nipples,
with you.
saving it for souvenirs. You know what I mean? And that's how these sick, psychopaths come to because no one paid attention to them because they took their illnesses and that ain't nothing. He bugging. You know what I mean? But no, because like I said, everyone is not the same and not cut from the same cloth. So when you see these characteristics, you have to know to say something. You know what I mean? And if you don't,
Definitely.
then you already know what's going to happen. You know?
That is so
Wow,
true.
that's deep.
It
So,
is.
you
But
know,
it's the truth though. You gotta give it to what it is. It's the truth.
And
It
man,
you know,
doesn't, I don't think it exists. I think you just need to pay more attention.
exactly.
Give them what they need. Because they reaching out for it. And it be the little things that people don't realize. But yet they'll go down there and they get them on all them psych meds and them babies don't need it at
Listen,
all.
listen. When they took me to ADX, the first thing they did was send a psych to come see me, and he asked me, "You having trouble sleeping?" I said, "Man, I got life plus 20. Don't know when I'm going home. I'm 29 years old. Of course, I'm having trouble sleeping." He said, "Okay, well, what color medication would you like? What's your favorite color?" I said, "Color? What that got to do with me sleeping?" "Oh no, we got the best sleeping pills here." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good on that. You sure?" So
buried
now
alive. I'm telling you, buried alive. That's the
you know,
best
they had
term.
some pills they called, I think, the lodgings or something, but the Europeans called them deeds. But they used to get them because they said when they popped them, it made them feel high. You know what I mean? Like they were oxycodone, and you know what I mean? And they want to take them and add them
Think
up, and
mine was
shoot them up.
Percocet. They used to give them. They used to give them the Percocets and the
Oh man, they go crazy for all that.
Silkworm or something like that. They used to give them. I don't know. It was like all
Listen,
kinds of
the psych,
crazy drugs.
the psych in a jail, in a prison, our county jail is the biggest, dope pusher in the country
Hmm.
because they're gonna make
Talk
sure you
about
get
it.
something. Man,
Yeah.
you got to try this drug. This shit, they a salesman for it. You know what I
Hit
mean?
you on it real quick. All you gotta do is have a bad day and you flip out. You already know what they doing to you. You already know they already got you on the pill line every night. They making sure you get that meds to get yourself together. And at the end of the day, it hurt a lot of people. It hurt
Yeah.
them. They
Oh,
they they
yeah.
really definitely.
All of those are experimental drugs that they send to the prison, and then they monitor us through the psych department, and they get paid for taking these experimental drugs and giving them to us and monitoring us and report back to the pharmaceutical company and say, "Oh, this one nigga unique just don't look right after he take it. He the only one that can stand it." You know what I mean? And they be like, "Okay, well, what's his blood type?" You know what I mean? And they want to, get, to go dissecting me to find out why it didn't affect me the way they expected it to. You know what I mean? And it just gets crazy. But that
Right.
medication, and because you have so many mentally ill people that don't even belong in prison, belong in a mental hospital, but there's nowhere
Definitely.
they don't have enough mental hospital for them. You know what I mean?
They got
And the
enough
abuse.
prisons. They
Oh
got
yeah,
That's a
they
enough
got the
fact.
prisons
prison for
though.
school kids, so you already know.
And you know what else? That speaking of like the drug thing, there were ladies that wanted to relocate. They're like, I was in West Virginia, so they're like, a lot of people from West Virginia. It's one of the worst states when it comes to pills, when it comes to meth and things like that. And I met a lot of girls that said, I want to go to Florida. I want to go to Miami. I want to go this place. I want to go that place and relocate because everybody in my family is doing something that I don't want to be around because I want to change my life. And you know what the BOP tells them? Well, if
But
you don't have family ties in this area, you can't go. A lot of people were denied the ability to leave and transfer and go other places because they wouldn't approve it and they would go right back to where they came from. And guess what? 6 months
Six
later,
months
I see
later,
them
they be
coming up
right
the
back through
hill.
the door.
They right back. And I'm
Right
like,
back through the door.
y'all are responsible for this because this girl asked you to go to a different location. If somebody was doing certain things in a certain environment and that's all they know and they want a chance to start fresh, you won't even give it to them because of bureaucratic bullshit. But you're supposed to care so much about this person restarting their life and all these stupid programs that are just fake, a way to just take
All,
taxpayers' money. They're not real because nobody enforces the actual change. I sat back and I watched the whole thing play out with a clear mind because I'm in there for a white collar crime. I'm not in there for a drug crime. So I'm watching everything with a different set of eyes, and I'm just
mm-hmm.
like, this is crazy. They railroading people right and left. Whether the people are selling drugs or using drugs, it's all cultural, environmental. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
like somebody woke up and said, "My dream in life is to be a big drug dealer and go to prison."
you
That
know
ain't
what
how
I
it
mean?
goes. and they are not acknowledging the source. Like they just, I don't know. I don't even know how to express it. It just makes me so mad because it's like we've been railroaded from day one. It's like slavery, Civil War, Jim Crow, civil rights, prison, mass incarceration. It's just one thing after another. You know what I'm saying? And now we're in the age of mass incarceration, and they want to paint the black man and the black woman as being so terrible and so bad, but nobody wants to talk about how we got into the positions that we're in. They want to skip that part and go straight to what's happening right now and skip how we got there. What the hell they did to us to put us in this crazy mental state where your homie will pick up a gun and shoot you when they was just playing ball with you the other day. That's not normal behavior. That's a mental breakdown. It's much deeper than that. So
Exactly.
people come to me trying to talk about my people, I be going off like, hold up. We can't talk about us without talking about the people that make us get the way that we are.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't start with us.
They ignore our symptoms, but when little Charlie or little Bobby has it, it's like, oh, we have to take him to a doctor. And but to our downfall too, we quick to say, oh, I don't go to psychiatrist. I don't think ain't nothing wrong with me. I ain't
because we conditioned to be strong. Like we had to be so strong. Anything that makes you feel like you might be being weak or we run from it, not realizing that ain't strong. That's stupid. But we think that certain things make us strong that really don't make us strong. It's just us trying to be strong because the world is so harsh on us. We don't want to look weak at all.
Definitely don't.
Yeah.
I know I didn't. I don't want to look weak. Like
That's
I
right.
said, I'll always pull up my big girl drawers and act like I can do it all.
That's right.
I'll do it. I'll keep
Okay,
it
let me
going.
ask you this. How is it for the women like with cellies, getting cellies, adjusting to cellies, to them giving you a roommate in prison? How is that life living? They just give you a new girl. They just put you and Aisha together. Here, y'all cellies. How do they do it in the prison? How do you adjust?
If her attitude wasn't right, she wasn't staying in my room. We gonna keep it real.
Ain't nobody gonna get along with you because you from Brooklyn and got that Brooklyn swag all with your neck popping.
Her mattress would be sitting out on the
You
terrace
see
or
what I'm saying?
somewhere.
You don't even want to sell it. That's the whole point. Some people just don't even want to sell it.
I couldn't handle
Instead of
it
just saying so, you try and make a person
2 days.
uncomfortable. Huh?
2 days. I can jump over 2 days.
And that's another thing I want to talk about because they always calling us ghetto and she lived this way, she lived that way. But if you've been in prison with some white girls, you seen some real nasty shit.
Yeah.
That's on a
Nasty
whole
shit.
different level. I don't care how they one thing about black women, okay, they might have their little stuff, but they will clean, they'll pick up a broom, they'll wipe something down, but these chicks, let me tell you something. Them people that come from these white trash areas they try to compare with the ghetto, they don't compare.
No, they don't.
They don't compare. It's a whole different type of nastiness than anything I've ever seen. I could not wait to get out of West Virginia because one thing about black women, we're gonna wash our ass.
Definitely.
If you ain't got no soap, you're gonna borrow some soap, you're gonna figure it out.
Shampoo, anything. As long as they lap it up, we gonna use it.
Now the people I'm talking about in there that will go a week without washing their ass. And it wasn't us.
See the dirt
I know
built
people
up
that'll
on
buy K2 before they buy a bar of soap.
One pack of cigarettes before they buy a well of soap. Then a cup of soup.
Yeah.
And soap wouldn't be on it. Like, yo, we used to have this one, right? I ain't gonna front. I gotta put on a blast. I have to. Just like, but now she was my people's, and to this day, yo, she would tell you, you came in and you was from New York. She'll come running around the dormitory and she'd be like, yo, we got a homie in. I know you got a bar of soap. I know. Man, you don't get up out my closet. Why do you feel that you gotta help every chick that come through the door? And when they get here, first thing they do is they move on. They don't even deal with us after you don't just set them up and got them started. And it's like they meet somebody else and it's just gone. But they just took all our stuff and they don't even talk to us the next day. But you quick to want to give up our things to these people. I used to be like, yo, if you don't move on, well, I swear I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna knit them some slippers. I be like, I ain't got no yarn. Get up out my closet. You know what I mean? But it was like little things. It'd be like, yo, wow, you too giving. And then to this day, she's still like that. She'll call you, yo, guess what I saw? Be like, who? You know the chick that was locked up with us? And we're like, no, I don't remember nobody. She'd be like, that's messed up. I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I try to forget half of the bros that came in contact with me. I'm not gonna lie. It's like I always say, I know if I'm gonna mess with you on the free world. I know if I'm gonna mess with you. But here, I can't even mess with you here, so I know I wouldn't mess with you out there.
So you was in Danbury, you was in the FCI?
I was in both. I finally made it to the camp. I ain't gonna front.
Was you in there with Mama?
Who?
With Mama.
Mama.
Gotta
give me a better name.
That's for everybody.
I was locked up with Kimber Smith though.
Matilda Hall.
I was locked up with Kimber though. I did my bit with her though. We was in Danbury together.
Was you in there with what's her name? She just came home. She had like 14 life sentences.
Not Alice Johnson.
I was with the Rafers. I was with Pappy Mason moms. I was with Miss Mason.
Okay, hold on. Okay, now we're gonna bring a guest on that I think y'all might have a couple of questions for. You know what I mean? Cynthia, that's Cynthia Bailey, she's a correction officer or ex-correction
officer. How y'all
doing?
How you doing?
What's up, Cynthia? We're talking to
How y'all doing?
You want to give us some stories on how the females are carry themselves on the inside? Give them one of the topics we were speaking on, young ladies, so we can get Cynthia involved and get a correctional officer's point of view as far as how she viewed, what you were just talking about, like the females being trifling. You know what I mean? Yeah.
She could tell us better stories than we can tell her. she got some stories for us.
Give us a story.
I've been in the prison system for 15 years, and I deal with people who have life sentences. I'm out here in Raleigh, and can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Clear.
Okay, I deal with people who have life sentences, and y'all was talking about people like being in jail for drugs and stuff like that. I've seen people have 875 years just for drugs. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of sad, you know what I'm saying, to have 875 years for drugs. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen a lot. I've been there 15 years, and it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I go there and I just treat them firm, fair, and consistent. I treat them like they human beings. You know what I'm saying? Because I could have been there. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen a lot.
I always say y'all locked up with us. At the end of the day, only thing make you different from us is you carry keys and we didn't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I always try to respect my correctional officers. I buck with y'all a lot. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna make it seem like I wasn't one of the ones that will buck on you real fast, but I always consider y'all just like us. Y'all wore uniform.
Yeah, it's like I said, I lived in Harlem. I lived on 150th Street. You know what I'm saying? So I've been around a lot of people, did a lot of things in my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So I could imagine it could have been me in that jail cell. You know what I'm saying? 1 second, it could have been me.
I want to ask her something too. Like, so I was in Alderson, and there was a captain that came in there. His name was Captain Grimes, and when he came in there, we had never had anybody black of authority in there. There hadn't been a black warden, there hadn't been a black captain, and there hadn't been a black assistant warden. They had one before that, but somebody spray painted nigga on his car. They tried to say the inmates broke into the paint room and they did it, but it really was the white officers that did it, and they tried to blame us. So nobody black really wanted to come there. And then every time somebody black would come in any type of position that was any type of position of some stature, it would always be an issue, and they would leave. So I had been there for about, I don't know, I was in about my 7th year in my bid, and maybe 8th, because I did 9. But when he came in, he was out there having a powwow with the women, talking about he was going to do all this change and do all this stuff for us and all of this. And I'm watching him and I'm like, he playing himself because they gonna come for you. So I pulled him to the side and I said, I see what you're trying to do. I know you're new here, but I'm telling you right now, these white folks that work here are gonna railroad you. So you might want to get in and see the works first before you make this spectacle. Because you see them 5 over there standing there staring at us right now. They watching, and I'm about to walk away from you right now just because of that. But don't say I ain't warn you. So I walk away, and in about 5 minutes after we separate, they, hey, Hall. So I turn around, they like, come here. So I'm like, what's up? And they like, where's your ID? And I said, I left it in the unit. Go in my unit to get my ID. Middle of the night, they come and get me, write me up a big shot for not having my ID. Now, I simply forgot it. It wasn't like it was anything malicious or I was trying to break the rules. I just forgot it. People forget it all day. And they just tell them, go get your ID. But me, they came in, they wrote me up, pulled me out in the middle of the night, all this drama, and say I got to see, disciplinary officer. So the next day, I see the captain again, and I say, remember what I told you yesterday about them and how they vindictive in here and all of that? They saw me talking to you. As soon as we walked away, they wrote me a shot for not having my ID. He said they wrote you a shot. Nobody writes shots for that. So he said he took my shot and he ripped it into shreds. And he said, if anybody got a problem with that, you tell them to come see me. I said, okay, Big Willie. All right, no problem. So when they called me to try to serve my shot, I said, the captain said my shot is dismissed. They said, he can't do that. And this is somebody who, he was their superior. And they're telling me he can't do that. I said, well, he's my superior. So he said it's dismissed. It's dismissed. Well, let me tell you something. Make a long story short. The day that I got released, that same captain came, because there was cameras and stuff there, because I was doing some television stuff. And he came and he said, oh, we'll take your cameras. And now, mind you, I wrote a complaint on his behalf because I wrote one about the racism on the compound. And I included that even if the black officers can't get respect, how do you think the inmates feel?
Right.
So when I'm leaving, he's bothering my family and telling them, oh, we're going to take your camera. And he's doing all of this stuff. And I'm like, damn, I thought he was a little cool. But apparently that was a facade. Well, make a long story short, he's doing 10 years right now. This captain.
Wow.
Because they set him up.
Oh, yeah. Homeboy we talking about, yeah.
Yes, they set him up. And I know he wasn't dealing with this girl. It was a whole made-up story. Everybody knows. But they set him up and they gave him 10 years. Now, I done seen a lot of white officers get walked off the compound for dealing with these females. And they get probation or they lose their job. They lose their pension, things of that nature. But I never
Or they resign.
Or they resign. And I never seen nobody get 10 years. And everybody felt bad for him. But the reason I'm saying this to you is because how do you feel? And this is like a question that I always wondered. When, as blacks, we participate in this system, just because you're a CO doesn't mean that they look at you any different sometimes than an inmate. And it's like, do you think it's worth the risk to put yourself in that environment, knowing that if something goes wrong, they're going to treat you no different than they treat us? And when people were feeling bad for him, and I said, listen, once you join this system, you can't think that you so special because you working on their side. Because when the tables turn, they're going to do you just like they do us. How do you feel about that? I'm just curious. That's why I told you that story.
Okay. Like you said, you're right. They look at us, to be honest, as like inmates. Okay. Because you got some COs in there that some people are dirty. You know what I'm saying? So the internal affairs, they look at us, they check us out. They look at our Facebook pages. We come in there, the dog search us too. You know what I'm saying? So we're treated like you said, when you do something wrong, you're gonna be on front page, or you're gonna get 10 years or whatever. We'll get worse than the average person would get. So I don't know. I just look at it as I come in there and I do my job and I stay out the way. You know what I'm saying? Because you could easily get into that so you could easily get into that trouble easy. You know what I'm saying? Because they searching you, they watching you. You know what I'm saying? But even out here in the streets.
The reason I'm asking is because when we go in, we don't have a choice. We taken off the street. we get caught up. When you guys go in, you make that decision, and once you see how the system really is, is it worth the risk, to put yourself in that position? Because if I could get the hell away from prison and as far as possible,
Right.
I'm going the opposite way. But you
It's
have.
worth the risk. I understand what you're saying.
I'm just
It's worth the
curious, like
risk. Yeah, it's worth the risk. Like I said, because I've been there 15 years. I got a family to feed. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't much out here. It ain't much jobs out here, you know what I'm saying, to support my family.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to live by the books and do what I got to do to make sure my family is fed. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And then I want to be a prime example to my grandkids growing up. I don't want them in the prison system. You know what I'm saying? So it is worth the risk. You know what I'm saying?
So it's
Your
not so
life is
much that you want to do it; it's about economics more so.
right. And yeah, it is. It is. It is. And you want to be enlightened to people in there too. You know what I'm saying? Because they live in a rough life. They already serving their time. You know what I'm saying? So when I come in there, I don't want to be a mean person or, a strict person. I just want to be, y'all do right. You know what I'm saying? And the day will go by smooth. You know what I'm saying? But I don't treat them nasty or none of that. Because like I said, that could have been me in that situation. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you could brighten up their day. You know what I'm saying? Just by coming in with a smile on your face.
That
So
is
it is
true.
worth it.
That
You know what I'm
is
saying?
true.
Because you
When
could
you
be a,
come in,
you could be a, you could be a how you say, you could be a, how you say, a image to them. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's bad. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's with that. Oh, get over here. Go sit down. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Nah, they
Now, when you
human
see that,
beings.
have you ever? Because I've seen nice officers that are really cool, don't bother you. You know what I mean? And then there's
but
always the asshole who want to treat you like garbage for no reason. And when I see that cool officer that treat us with so respect, I expected that they would correct the officer who was being nasty, because
nah,
and
that's
that
just
They're
would
like
not.
never
the
happen.
police force. They the same. They all together. They
You
still
can't.
brothers
Well,
in uniform. They not
you
going to
can't.
do it in front of us.
If you see somebody saying something, out of the order, you know what I'm saying? No, you can't check them right there. You know what I'm saying? You can't. You know what I'm saying?
No,
But you can't pull them to the side and say, look, that was wrong. You know what I'm saying? You don't treat nobody like that.
I've
You know
never
what I'm
seen.
saying? So, huh?
I have never seen a CEO do that.
I've
Put
never, and that's what I was
all
saying.
that kind of
Because
sound polite,
when
sound.
I hear people
You know,
say
CEOs
about the
just been
way that they,
disrespectful where I've been at.
when I hear people
You know what I
say
mean?
that they treat people a certain way, I always try to see how far do you go to treat people a certain way, because when your comrade is not treating people with respect, do you say something? Because you could be as cool as a fan, but if I see my sister being, you know, abused in any way or
I
mistreated,
gotta speak up. I gotta speak up.
Right,
Gotta
right,
speak
right.
up.
You can always stop it.
you know,
But it ain't
You
and
can
I
too
know
many
there's
always
going to
step.
be
officers. It
repercussions,
ain't too many
but my
officers out there
integrity
that's
and
doing
my
that though.
character is so strong, I'm going to say something. So why doesn't that
Right. You
carry
can
over
always
in
step
that
up and you
job?
can
What
always
makes
step
that job an
into it.
exception to that rule?
Right. You can always step into it and push them aside and be like, yo, come over here. You know what I'm saying? And you talk to them, chill out. You know what I'm saying? So you can always
Right.
do that. You know what I'm saying? Talk to another person that's going out of their way to disrespect another person that's uncalled for. You could always say, yo, chill. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like I said, I've been there all them years and
But where were you? Were you in a federal prison or was you in a state
not
prison as a correctional officer?
I'm in state. I'm in a
Okay.
state in Raleigh,
Okay.
North
Okay.
Carolina, where people got life sentences.
For
You
men,
know what I'm saying? Yeah,
for
for
men,
men,
Men or women? Men.
men, for
mhm.
men. You know what I'm saying? And that's when they was doing execution at the time when I came in. And then, like I'll say, a year later, that's when they stopped doing the execution.
Are you still a correctional officer?
Yeah,
Or are you are? So you got
I'm
what?
still am.
5 more years and you gonna retire from this situation, right?
Nah, well, it's really 30 years.
It's 30
They got their
years?
30 years. They're trying to push it to 25. So, it's like 30 years right now.
Feel you got another 15 years in you to do it?
I don't have a choice.
You
You know
always
what I'm
have a
saying?
choice, Ma. You always got a
Nah, but I'm saying
choice.
far as I don't have a choice far as like another 30 years. I got it in me. You know what I'm saying? Um, like I said, I want to have some things set for my grandkids, some things set for my daughters. So this is where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I lived in Harlem. I lived on her 50th and 7th Avenue. I used to be on her 54th Street, 480 on her 34th Street. So I lived all those type of things. I've seen a lot in a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm on the straight and narrow. I'm just
I grew
straight.
up with Cynthia in Harlem. She
Yeah,
was
he grew
Okay.
up with me in Harlem.
the
You
best
know what
friend.
I'm saying? And
I was just curious, like, to know where we coming from on the situation. I know you've been listening to us and you don't heard us and express our feelings about our incarceration and what we experienced. Is like,
right,
I was just curious. You got that 15 years left in you to give them.
I
Again,
got
But
it in
as you
me.
said, you ain't got no choice. It's
Right,
your
I
hustle.
got it.
That's your
It
hustle.
ain't nothing.
So
It ain't nothing out here. You know what I'm saying? Like far as jobs, good jobs and stuff like that. There's
I
nothing
feel
out
you. I
here.
can understand that. I can
You know what I'm
understand it,
saying? So
but
I gotta feed my
and the
family.
benefits are better.
it
And
is
Yeah,
what it is.
better. You
Yeah,
know?
it's
yeah. I gotta
interesting
feed.
to hear her perspective because when you are on the other side, you don't get to hear that. Your judgment is straight like, oh, this person is part of the system that has me going through the worst part of my life, and you don't really listen to the other side. But at the end of
Yeah,
the day, in certain areas in America, there's more prisons than you have universities, and it is the
right.
number one jobs around. But I
Yeah,
always used to say, me and someone was having a conversation about that, and I said, if you had some crazy person bring back slavery and the only job was overseers, how many of us would take them?
right,
Sometimes when you're in that system, even if you're going to be in it, I would love to come back on here in 6 months and you tell me about an officer that was nasty to an inmate and you checked them.
Yes,
And
I
then I would
never
be
heard
like,
right,
that.
okay,
right, right,
okay, now we
right,
making progress. You know
right.
what I mean?
Well,
Basically,
we
Because
making progress anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, being out there with the inmates, you know what I'm saying? And you coming in there with being firm, fair, and consistent. You're not being nasty. You're not treating them any type of way. You know what I'm saying? If you can help them, you help them in the guidelines that you have to be able to help them with. It's not like, oh, can I get a pen or paper? Oh, go see a sergeant. Or you try to do the best you can to help them out. You know what I'm saying? Because they're in a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely try to help them out. You know what I'm saying? In any way that I can. So like I said, you got some people that's in there, the officers, you got some that's good and you got some that's bad. That's in life and anywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not here to give them more time. They got the time that they got. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to make sure they safe and secure. You understand what I'm saying? Safe and secure. That's it.
that's what's up.
So yeah.
That's what's up.
You got to make sure they safe and secure. I'm not here to punish them.
So you ever been accused of doing something inappropriate with an inmate? I know they charge females with that a lot in the men's
Yeah,
prison.
never. I've been there, like I said, 15 years. I never been written up once.
No, 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 not saying never. You know they like to try and throw y'all in lumps. You know what I mean? They always think if a female
Yeah,
inmate, especially a fly inmate like myself, oh yeah, she
yeah,
was. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I
yeah.
just keep
Now
it 100. I mean,
it's
I
stuff like that goes on. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying. But I personally never been accused
no,
because,
but I mean,
like,
they accused me. They put me out of a real plus joint. I was in Florida in 2018, and for the same thing because it was a Spanish female was real giddy and enjoyed being around me. Which I mean, what do you expect? But she had a good she had a good choice. But anyway, they see me
But listen, I have a pre-record with Godfrey at 11. I have another interview at
beautiful.
11 o'clock,
Yeah.
and he's texting me like, "Where you at?"
Okay. No, no.
So
Go
I
ahead
hate to
and
have to go because this was so dope.
hey.
It was
But
No.
I
good
guess we're
talking
gonna
to
have to do it
you.
again. Yes, it
Mhm,
was
Definitely,
nice to meet
definitely got to
all of
come
you.
back.
mhm.
yes,
I looks like I'm gonna be a regular on this joint.
yes, Aisha,
Listen.
yes.
But it was nice to meet you, and it was
Same
very
here.
enlightening to talk to the other side, and hear from your personal experience. It
Mhm.
would
No
be it
problem.
would be unique to make that happen.
Yes,
Right? You know, we got to get both sides. We don't just want one side, you
Yes,
know?
yes.
that's
So
right.
thank you for having me. I gotta go because I gotta go for this other podcast, and
Okay.
we'll talk about whenever you want me to come back.
All right. Handle your businesses.
All
All
right.
right.
Talk
All
to y'all
right.
soon.
Bye, Mama.
Okay. Bye.
All right.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
but Cent, you know,
Yes.
you and I both know that it's hard to tell the police that one of the police is doing something they're not supposed to do, or inappropriate or whatever. You know what I mean? Because they're
Right.
not going to want to take no orders from you, and they don't want you telling them how to do their job. I mean, I treat this piece of how I want to treat them, and you don't say nothing, and you mind your business because I mind mine. You know what I mean? So, you
Right.
know, I just want to keep that 100 for the people listening to know. But now we ain't even gonna be here because we've been here long enough. We definitely gonna bring Cent back. You know, Friday night we got the grown folks talk. You know what I mean?
All right.
What's
All
up?
right.
It was nice meeting you, Miss Cynthia. You have a good
Same
night,
here.
okay?
Nice
Y'all
meeting you too.
get my
Okay,
speech. Could I
man.
ride my car? Could I ride my car? Thank you,
Oh,
ladies. I know y'all
All
not
right. You're welcome.
driving, but let me drive for a minute.
my bad. I'll
Thank
back
you, ladies.
up. You know, I'll put my brakes.
All right. Now
I'll
we're
be glad to
gonna
come back whenever you need me.
All right. Now this program can be seen over at Unique Mecca Audio TV at YouTube. All right. We just started a new page because we got a lot of different content already. I got like 70 something videos sent in like 2 months, 2.5 months. And it's everything is kind of like mixed in like a gumbo. So I'm trying to separate it. So I'm starting Unique Mecca Audio TV, where we got a film here now, and then we're gonna put it over there on that where people could go there and view it. You know what I mean? Until we get monetized over there. You know what I mean? But we gotta get 1,000 subscribers over there. So we're gonna put the video over there and announce here that the video is going over there. So we at Unique Maker Audio TV is where you're gonna see this. And Friday night we'll be back here with the grown folks talk, but it will be shown over there at Unique Maker Audio TV. So everybody know, thank you. I appreciate you. You want to say your goodbyes or your shout out, Cent?
Yeah. I like to say shout out to all my Harlem Nights and to my granddaughter birthday today, Lila. She
Happy
turned
birthday.
6 years old today.
Birthday.
I love all my people. I love y'all. Unique. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, I support you 100%.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate you, and it's always been a pleasure with you. All right, good night.
Same here.
Okay, now Tracy, what's up?
I just want to tell you thank you, babe, for letting me come on and sharing my story. And anytime you ever need me, you already know. Hit me up. I'm here.
All right, might bring you back next week. We just having fun. I like sisters that know the system. You know what I mean?
I got you. I
All
mean,
right.
I know a little something about the system.
Oh, you
8.5
definitely.
years, I definitely could tell you a little something. But I'm here for you, whatever you need. You know what I mean?
All right, well, thank you.
Hit
I
us up.
appreciate it. And you
You heard what
definitely
I
put
said,
our
right? Hit
candy.
us up because I
Huh?
gotta put them in there. We gotta hit us up
Mm-hmm.
because I gotta put them
Yeah.
in
Nothing,
there.
Dollar. Okay.
Okay.
All right, sis. Good night. Good night, Dollar. All right, love
All
you.
right, boy. I love you, man. I'll see you tomorrow, yo.
All right.
Standing over my shoulder.
You know, you already know. Okay. Yeah. So we out. I just want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in. Go to Unique Maker Audio TV is where this is going to be shown. I might let it show one time here while we announce that it'll be shown over there, but that's where it'll be shown at Unique Maker Audio at YouTube. Maker Audio TV at YouTube. All right. Good night.